Hey, welcome to English Learning Stories. Ready to level up your English? Here, we learn through stories slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey. 1. Introduction. Singapore is a very small country. It is a tiny island. You can drive across it in about 1 hour, but Singapore is also a very rich country. Many people there have high incomes. It is one of the richest countries in the world. This is surprising because it is so small. Also, it does not have many natural resources like oil or gas. It is smaller than many big cities in other countries. So, how did this small island become so rich? This is an interesting question. Long ago, Singapore was just a simple trading port. Ships stopped there on long journeys because of its good location. Then it became a colony under Britain for many years. After that, it became an independent country in 1965. At that time, it had many problems. There were not enough jobs for everyone. Many people did not have good homes to live in. The country was poor and faced big difficulties. But over many years, Singapore changed a lot. The leaders made plans to build many homes for people and create more jobs. They worked hard to attract companies from other countries to come and build businesses there. They built many factories first. Later, they developed new types of work that needed more skill, like banking and technology services. They also made the city a very nice and safe place to live and visit. This helped bring more money and global businesses to the island. Today, Singapore is a modern and rich city-state. It has tall buildings, clean streets, and beautiful parks. It is an important center for business and money around the world, but becoming rich also brought new challenges for the country and its people. Life can be very expensive for many. There are questions about how the country is run and if all citizens feel they benefit from the wealth equally. This story will look at Singapore's journey from the past to the present. We will see, step by step, how this tiny island grew into a powerful and rich nation. We will explore the main reasons behind its success and fast growth. We will also look at the challenges it faces now and the plans for its future. This is the neutral story of a very small place that became a very rich country. 2. A small place, long ago. A long time ago, Singapore was just a small island. It was a very important place because of where it is. It sits near a busy sea path. Ships traveling between different countries in Asia and Europe often passed by. This good spot for sea trade was its main advantage. Later, people from Britain came to the island. They saw that its location was perfect for trade. In 1819, they started a colony there. Singapore became a port where ships could stop to buy and sell goods. This period lasted for many years and changed the island. In 1965, Singapore became an independent country. This meant it was free from British rule, but it was a very difficult time. The new country was very small. It did not have many natural resources like oil or minerals in the ground. It could not sell these things to other countries. Also, many people on the island did not have jobs. Unemployment was very high. Life was hard for many families. There was also a big problem with housing. Not enough homes were built for everyone. Many people lived in poor conditions, sometimes in large areas that were not good places to live. The leaders of the new country knew they had big challenges. They had to find ways to create work for people. They also needed to build many houses quickly so everyone had a decent place to live. These were some of the first important steps the new government took to try and make life better for the people of Singapore. They had to start building a country with very little, using mostly their location and hard work. 3. Homes and first jobs. After Singapore became an independent country in 1965, it faced big challenges. There was a significant problem with unemployment. Many people did not have work. Also, there was a serious housing crisis. A large number of people lived in very poor conditions, often in crowded slums. The new government understood that they needed to improve the lives of their citizens quickly. The first leaders of Singapore developed important plans to address these major problems. They saw that solving the housing issue and the job issue were connected. One of the first and most important things the government did was to start building many new homes for the people. These were government-built homes known as public housing. The goal was to provide everyone with a clean, safe, and affordable place to live. In the 1960s, only a small percentage of the population lived in public housing, around 9%. However, the government built homes very quickly and on a large scale. Over the years, this effort grew, and today a large majority of the population, more than 80%, lives in public housing. Having a stable home environment was very important. It gave people hope and helped create a sense of stability across the country. To create jobs, the government knew it had to attract businesses, especially foreign companies, to invest and build operations in Singapore. They worked hard to make Singapore an attractive place for investment. They offered incentives, such as lower taxes, to encourage companies from other countries to set up factories and offices. They also focused on creating a stable environment for work. In the years before independence, there were often strikes by workers, which made businesses hesitant to invest. The government put in place rules and systems that helped to reduce strikes and create a more reliable workforce. This stability was crucial for convincing international companies that Singapore was a safe and good place to do business. At first, Singapore focused on building its manufacturing industry. This involved making physical products in factories. They started with industries that needed a lot of workers, like textiles and simple electronics. This approach helped to quickly reduce high unemployment. Making goods and exporting them became the main way to grow the economy. Manufacturing was seen as the first important step. It helped transform Singapore from a place with limited jobs into a regional center for production. By the 1970s and 1980s, manufacturing was a key part of the economy. Singapore became known for making various products, including becoming the world's largest producer of hard disk drives for computers. This initial success in building a strong manufacturing base provided many people with their first jobs and created the wealth needed for the country to develop further. 4. New kinds of work. Making things in factories was a good start for Singapore. It gave many people jobs. But the leaders knew this was not the only way to grow rich. They wanted to do more than just simple factory work. Big changes came in the 1980s. The country wanted to move from making basic goods to making more complex and high-tech things. This needed different skills and training for the workers. Also, Singapore started to build a new kind of business, the money business. This means working with banks, investments, and finance. The government made rules easier for these businesses. The idea was to become a big center for money in Asia. To do this, Singapore needed to bring in companies from other countries. They wanted big global companies to come and open offices or headquarters there. Why did these companies come? Singapore offered good conditions for doing business. It also offered low taxes for companies. This was a big reason for companies to choose Singapore over other places. This focus on finance and services like banking and business help became very important. It was different from just making products. It was about using knowledge and skills. The economy started to depend more on these new kinds of work. Over time, the part of the economy based on services grew much larger than manufacturing. Singapore became known as an easy place to start and run a business. This brought more wealth and more new jobs that needed different talents. This shift was a key step in Singapore's journey to becoming a rich nation. 5. A good city to be in. Singapore wanted to be a good place not just for work, but also to live. Making the city nice was important for people and for businesses. This would help keep companies and rich people in Singapore for a long time. It was important for the country to become a place people wanted to visit and stay. This was a key part of Singapore's success in becoming wealthy. Years ago, in the 1970s, Singapore started adding new land to the island. They made the country bigger. On this new land, they built many things. They built offices for companies and homes for people, but they also built many places for fun and entertainment. This changed how the city looked completely. The buildings became taller and more modern, creating a new skyline. Parks and green spaces were also created to make the city a pleasant place to be. These changes helped make Singapore a more attractive place for people to live and for businesses to set up their offices and regional headquarters. To make the city even more exciting and bring in more visitors, especially rich ones, Singapore brought in special events and built new attractions. One big event is the Formula One car race. It is held at night on the city streets and brings many visitors from around the world. Singapore also decided to allow large resorts that included casinos. These are called integrated resorts. Building these resorts and holding big events happened at a good time for Singapore. Countries nearby, like China and India, had strong economies, and many rich people from these countries had more money to spend and invest. Singapore was in a very good place to attract these wealthy people. They could come to Singapore to enjoy the casinos, the nightlife, the high-end shopping, and the modern city environment. Importantly, they could also keep their money in Singapore. This helped Singapore's economy a lot. The total amount of money managed in Singapore for these wealthy individuals and companies grew very, very big over the years. Making Singapore a fun and attractive place helped bring in more money and visitors, especially rich ones and their businesses. It became known as a city with modern buildings, beautiful parks, and exciting things to do. This plan worked well to make Singapore even richer and more successful. It showed that being a good city to live in was just as important as being a good place to work. The city changed a lot to offer more than just jobs and homes. It became a real destination for wealth and enjoyment. This was different from before, when the focus was mostly on factories and basic jobs. Now, it was about making life enjoyable too, which helped the economy in new and important ways by attracting global wealth. 6. Paying for a good life. Singapore is a rich city, but living here can cost a lot of money. It is known as a very expensive place in the world. Some things are much more expensive than in other countries. For example, buying a car is very costly because of high taxes. Clothes can also be quite expensive here. However, some other things may cost less. Personal care items, things for your home, and help in the house can be cheaper than in many big cities. Most people in Singapore earn a good salary compared to many places. The typical salary, meaning what many people earn in the middle range, is a few thousand each month, but about 20% of this money goes into a special savings account. This is a rule. People must put money here. They can use this money later for important things like buying a home, paying for medical help, or education. This system helps people save for the future, but it means they have less money to spend freely every month. Singapore also has many rich people. There are more than 184,000 millionaires living here. This shows that some people have a lot of money, but there are also big differences in how much money people have. This is called inequality. We can measure this difference. There is a number, for example, 0.356 in one recent year that shows this inequality. A lower number means people have more equal amounts of money. Singapore's number is higher than in some other rich countries, like Germany or Japan. This means the difference between rich and poor is bigger here than in those places. So while Singapore is a rich country overall, not everyone feels rich. Some people feel the difference in wealth strongly. The government knows this is an important issue to think about and try to make better. 7. New voices, new plans. Singapore has grown rich, but not everyone agrees on everything. Some people talk about rules for speaking freely. They say that in the past, it was hard to criticize the government. People were sometimes afraid to speak their minds. Even now, some rules about free speech are still in place. The government knows that the people of Singapore are changing. The population is more diverse now, with people from many different places and backgrounds. People are also speaking out more than before. They have more opinions and want to share them. Recently, Singapore has a new leader, a new prime minister. His name is Lawrence Wong. He grew up in public housing, which is where most Singaporeans live. Some people feel he understands regular citizens better because of this. People think he has a more common touch. He has said that he wants to build on the good things Singapore has already done. He wants to keep the country strong and successful. But there are also worries among the people. One big worry is about jobs. Singapore has brought in many foreign workers to help the economy grow. But some citizens worry that these foreign workers are taking the best jobs. They are concerned about having good work for themselves. Politics is also changing. The main ruling party has been in power for a long time, but its popularity is not as high as before. This means that politics might become more active and perhaps more difficult in the future. Different voices are speaking up more loudly. These new voices and worries mean the new leader has important work to do. He must listen to the people and find ways to make sure everyone feels included. He needs to manage concerns about jobs and foreign workers. He also needs to guide Singapore as it continues to grow and change in the future. The country must find a way to keep its success going while listening to the different ideas and concerns of its people. 8. What comes next? Singapore has become a rich country. It has done many things well. But looking ahead, there are new challenges. The country must think about what comes next. One big challenge is that people are getting older. Many people in Singapore are living longer. This means more older people and fewer young people. This can make finding workers harder. Older people also need more care and support. The government needs to spend more on health care and services for older citizens. This puts pressure on finances. Singapore needs plans to help everyone as the population changes. Another challenge comes from other countries. Singapore was one of the first in Asia to grow so fast. Now others are learning from Singapore. They work hard to improve their economies. They want to attract businesses and people too. This means Singapore has more competition. Singapore must find new ideas and keep improving to stay special and attractive. It needs to work hard to stay ahead. Climate change is also a serious problem. Singapore is a small island. It is surrounded by the sea. If the sea level rises, it can cause flooding. Strong storms might happen more often. Singapore needs to build strong walls to protect itself. Protecting the island is very important for the future. Singapore has a new leader now. His name is Lawrence Wong. He is the new Prime Minister. He has taken on this important job. His task is big. He must lead Singapore through these new challenges. He must work to keep Singapore's economy strong. He needs to find answers for the older population. He must help protect Singapore from climate change. He needs to make sure Singapore can compete globally. He also needs to listen to the people. Citizens have worries. Some worry about jobs. Some feel life is too expensive. They worry about costs. Some also worry about foreign workers. The new leader must hear these worries and find solutions that help all Singaporeans. Keeping Singapore successful and managing new problems is the main work for the new leader and the government. The future holds many questions for the country.